Okay, here's something educational and informal that might impress you guys. It's not sexual, it's got no bad connotation. Like, okay, so like this is a stage look, okay? Boom, that's about as male as I get with the fucking makeup, okay? So you're seeing it, okay? I look like kind of a head, okay? But not the racist type of head. No, the head that just has their head shaved, okay? I'm not racist at all, but like I like the look of having an undercut where you shave the side and the back of your head and then you let the top grow out to here. And anyways, when you walk up to the stage, gesture, okay, and you walk up, you pick the bass guitar up by where the frets are up at the top, okay, and you reach down and you pick it up by the bottom of the neck, okay. Next thing that you do, slide this hand under and you make sure you're holding it like this, where the bass is like this, okay. So you're holding it like that. Take the strap and you strap it around. It's unbuttoned. Then you hold it by the knee up like this, and you put the actual guitar part, the bass guitar part, on your knee. Okay, you button that motherfucker, and you make sure it's stout. It's stout and done right. So you're gonna have to go like this. Okay, your bass should be played about right here, comfortably. If you're playing way down here, if you're playing like way down here, you're not going to be able to hit the notes like the very bottom one. So you want to do it where it's kind of comfortable. Okay, bass is an 8 measure. It's not a 4 measure, and it's an 8 measure. So you go dun 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 dun. Yeah, and notice I'm back up at dun 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 okay, and you kind of go through it. It's almost like an 8 measure, 4 measure, 6 measure, 8 measure. Okay, so when you're starting the introduction, you're always the first one kicking in on the bass. Everybody thinks it's a drummer. It's not. It's a bass player that kicks in. The bass player has to keep the tempo going throughout the entire thing. The bass player has to keep the drummer in gear. The drummer has to keep the guitarist in gear. Every bit of it keeps the vocalist centered. If one person is even slightly off, the bass player gets the most slack for it. Even though the bass player might be right on cue, if that drummer is slightly off, he's going to be like, oh, the bass player did blah, blah, off. And I'm like, hell no, I wasn't off. Re-listen to that shit. So then I got to defend myself. So then they really, yep, the bass player was a drummer fucking straighten up, okay? And usually there's, like, to find the right band, like, you got to have, like, demo tape, or it's not even done on tape anymore. It's done on DVD so that they can see how you're holding bass and that you know what you're doing. Like, okay, I invented a song on the bass and invented a new style of music. It's called voodoo grunge, okay, or voodoo metal. And it's played like, every song is like as if you were in a New Orleans cemetery. Okay, I got my own unique style. If somebody wants to drop by a bass guitar that owes me like $30 and they want to drop me off a very beginner's bass guitar, I'm semi-pro at bass. Okay, but I'm willing to get a kid's bass guitar and practice on it and practice on it and practice on it. It would drive me nuts because I already know how to play the bass that well. But $30 is only going to get like, maybe you're getting an acoustic, like, kid's bass guitar. Like, when I get my money, like, I want to buy a Stratocaster when I get 20,000 head. Okay, a Stratocaster. Now you're talking a professional bass instrument, a Stratocaster. Okay, I want to get personal pickups on, like, custom pickups, like, to where that echoes, like, the top string echoes, the string underneath that adds distortion, or vice versa, depending on what your pickups and what you want to do and how much you're willing how much bread you're willing to lay on the table and go, dude, I got $80,000. I want that $20,000 Stratocaster and custom harmonics on it and custom I want a custom harmonic, I want a custom bridge, and I want custom pickups. That's what I was doing. Custom pickups. The pickups are the round little dots down near the bottom of the strings towards the bottom of the bass guitar, not near the neck, but the exact opposite. And it has like 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, and those are your pickups. They're little round circles. Those are your pickups. Okay, and it has 2 sets of them or 3 sets of them, depending on if your bass guitar is like professional level, beginner level, intermediate level, because there's different types of bass. There's also basses for short people, like that have small arms. There's basses for people like me that have extremely long arms with piano fingers. Like they have bass players that have bass guitars that the fingers that big and 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 the fingers are like that wide. Okay, they have bass for every single type of player. Okay, so you're gonna kick in 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Okay. You don't even need the bottom 2 strings for like the bass. Like I play it top string and the one right under it. So I play D, A. Those are the only 2 strings that I really play. I don't play D, G. D, A is the only ones that I play. It goes D, A, D, G. Okay. I only play D, A. And usually I'm in a drop C tuning. So it's like a bang, and it's like a very bang, like that, okay? So it's a very baritone like string, okay? And then the string under that, I tighten it up to like a B flat, B sharp, something like that. Or I mean, I'm tuning it down to B flat, B sharp, to where it's bang, 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 something like that, okay? So there's semi-professional right there. Okay, I know professionals that can do it a lot better than me. And one of my favorite bass players is Talene Atkins. She's my mom from the band Kittie, Kittie. All 4 of them are like my moms, and I got mad respect for them. Right? Anyways, bass is my weapon. Bass guitar is my weapon of choice. If I had a choice between vocals, bass, guitar, and drums, like. Guitar is the very last, dude. Guitar frustrates the fuck out of me. Because I start out at G, okay, and then I try to switch it to an E, and then I try to go back to G, but because of my cross dominance, I can't go from G to E to back to G. I think it's EM, so it's like a G, EM, G. Okay? And I can't switch like that. However, with a bass, I can play like this, and I can get the effectiveness out of it the same way. Okay, so like my guitar player is starting in let's say he's starting in a G minor. Okay, where my bass is gonna pick up on that is like a drop C tuning. Okay, and he's starting off in G minor with drop D tuning. So I'm drop C tuning. Trying to pick up the slack, because bass player has to know how to pick up slack. Like if they're in a drop E tuning, like that requires you to go C, D, E. That requires you to go and drop E tuning, where it is the string is this flimsy and wobbly, and you tighten it up slightly to where it's not so flimsy, but it's still flimsy and wobbly, and you're just hitting that shit with a pick. Don't even try to finger pick if you're that wobbly. It's not going to sound good. You got to use a pick. If you're a bass player and you're not using a pick, unless you're Taylor Momsen's bass player or Metallica's bass player, You're not going to be able to hit those notes. You're not going to be able to play bass like that. Okay, that takes mastering bass guitar to be able to play without a pick and play efficiently and properly. Like that dude practiced bass all of his life. Both the Metallica bass player and Pretty Reckless's bass player. Colleen Atkins even plays with a pick. Like, females have to play with the pick because we don't have the strength in our fingers. Okay? And we've got the finesse with doing it like this. This is a female way of picking. Male way of picking, like this. Females will go plunk, plunk, plunk. Okay, so it's almost like a finger pick up top. Where the bass, you want to pluck under and you want to go like that with it. And it's almost like you pick the string up, lift it up, curl it under, and bam. And as soon as you go bam, like that, it flips it up and flips down, and that's where you're getting your sound from. Okay, now some people like tapping the bass. Like, once again, it's a finesse. Like, you're only tapping one or two strings at a time. It looks like you're slapping the fuck out of all four strings or all five strings, depending on if you're 4 bass or 5 bass. A 4 bass is usually used for metal. A 5 bass is usually used for symphony. That's the dramatic difference. Okay, listen to Metallica S&M album. Okay, it's all symphony mechanical. That's what S&M in that album stands for. Symphony mechanical. Because everything is mathematics in that whole album. Okay, you think it's easy to play that album? Okay, try listening to it. Tune everything out but the bass part, bass players. Okay, now you tune everything out but the bass part of the song "Turn the Page" in the S&M album. Symphony mechanical, okay? So you try doing that, okay? Try playing it like Chris, okay? Yeah, Chris, I think his name's Chris. Yeah, when he's playing that, you got to be meticulous, okay? The fret is here and here, and you got to be like right there, okay? You got to be dead center on every freaking. Dude, I tried that shit for like 2 months practicing every day. Hitting that note, like, and then making it into a symphony on that is a bitch, okay? Because there's like, and bing, dun, dun, wait, and I could here. Let me play something. Let me play it real quick, okay? And I will show you something, okay? Um, you'll see what I'm talking about here in a second, okay? Let me get there first. YouTube.com. Okay, youtube.com, and then we're going to go Metallica, turn the page. Metallica, turn. Okay, Metallica, turn the page. Okay, and then we're going to go bass, SOLO. Okay, and this is just a demographic. This isn't exactly the way to play it, but this is the bass. And let me find the actual one. Okay, so this is the actual. Okay. And I'm a chord or two higher. Notice it's all the same mechanicals. Okay. And now we're like up at 12 to 15 fret. Okay, and then we're back down to 1 and 3. And then we're up to 7, 8. And then we're back down to 5, 4. And then we're back up to 12, between 12 and 15. Then we're back down to 1 and 2. And we're up to 7, 8. And then we're up to 15, 12. Then we're back down to 3, 4. Then we're back up to 5, 7. Then we're back down to 1, 2. Okay, and that's basically, but, okay, okay, you kind of get the point, okay, and that's not even all the symphony, okay. I played it a very different way than that cat was playing it, okay. I start out with like a boom, 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 boom on 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay. Then it goes up to 7, 8, and that's when the drums kick in, and then it's back to a 3, 4 where the guitar player sticks in, and then it's a 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, and then it goes up to 7, 8, and then it goes down to 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 7, 8, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay. Notice 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3. Okay, and you've really got to get your fingers down. Like there's no need to use the pinky, and you don't use your thumb other than use your thumb to hold the neck. Like you want the neck right here, not right here. You want the neck right here, so you can gain, like in case you got like stretch mute. Okay, stretch muting is done on the bass. It might be called something else, but I call it stretch mute. That's where you're grabbing way up here and you bend the strings all the way down to get a like that sound. Okay, and if you're adding harmonics to it, you're going and then you're lifting up, and as you're lifting up, you pluck, and it goes like that, and it's real harmonic sound, like harmonics and S&M. Harmonics and string muting are like a must. You must have that down to play that. To play anything off the S&M album by Metallica, you have to have string muting down and harmonics, because it's basically that's all they do in that whole album. Like, you think you can just pick up a bass because it has 4 strings and you're like gonna think in a month I'm gonna be a pro. No. Let me tell you what, I owned a bass for about 3 years, and I knew about 4 songs by heart, and I was still practicing on 6. But I learned Paper Doll, Brackish, Enter Sandman, and then I started learning Cowboys from Hell, but it is more faster than what I can play, and I'm fast on the bass. Like, that dude is a mastermind. Like, let me show you how fast I can play on the bass, okay? And I'm like, okay, and it's still not fast enough, okay? Like, you're getting them, okay, because they're up to like this, okay? They're so fast on it, they're up to like this, okay? And Cowboys from Hell is one of the hardest songs to play on the bass guitar, because it goes do 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 do. Okay, and you got to be spot on cue. Like, you can't go fast and then slow and then fast, 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 slow, fast, fast. Like, it has to be right there. Bass is all about rhythm and tempo. If you don't have rhythm, you can't play the bass. If you don't have tempo or don't know how to do tempo, you cannot play the bass. Bass is all about rhythm and tempo, a little bit of harmonics, and the foot pedals for it are very simple if you're playing metal. All you need to play metal properly is an echo pedal, reverb, and distortion. Like, that's it. Now, to play black metal, you're going to need a screech pedal, because you're going to need to go like that when you're going into the chorus and stuff. Okay. And the foot pedal, you hold it down, you press it. It's not like your regular pedals. The scratch pedal, you hold it down, you press it, you do your thing, and you lift off, and it goes right back to normal. It's called, okay, and distortion, you tap that motherfucker, and you're distorted all the way through. Same thing with echo. Tap it. Okay, reverb, you got to use finesse, but you tap with finesse, and then you release, and you're on. Okay, but distortion pedals are made to be smashed with your foot. Echo pedals, same thing. Do not smash with your foot on a reverb pedal or a scratcher pedal. Like those two, you got to use with delicate finesse. Like you smash too hard on, your pedal is destroyed. Like within the first 3 seconds. Okay, they're a very delicate pedal. What it is a button that is flat on top of the surface, and you got to push that thing down very gently and lift up very gently. You can't just go ding, boom like that, because that fucker can fly off, and because it's spring underneath it, it can fly off, and it can hit a window, it can hit a light, it can hit an audience member. Like, you got to know what you're doing. Like, picking up a bass is not something where you're just gonna learn it right away. It's not something that, okay, it's you either got an knack for it or you don't, but you're not gonna pick everything up right away. You'll be lucky within a year to learn one song within a year on bass if you're doing it properly. And then at that, it's 6 hours a day practice minimum on bass, and you're learning bass chord, your D chord, 4th fret, your C chord, 3rd fret, okay, and you're learning the different frets on a bass guitar, okay, so it's all tablature bass. Don't start learning the sheet music. That shit is way too confusing, and for a beginner, it'll fuck them up. Okay, let me explain tablature in a very basic sense. Okay, so it's going to have a 4 on the top, on the very top string. Okay, it's flipped upside down. So that 4 on the top string means you hit the bottom string at fret 4. If it's at the bottom, you hit the top string, fret 4, if it's got a 4 at the bottom. If it's got a 3 on the second string down, on the second string up, it's a 3. Bing. Okay, and it's that simple. And it's got like a 3-1, okay, you hold it basically like this, and you strum the first string, and then the second, and you lift off. Okay? If it's got like a miniature hammer by it, that means you're hammer muting. So it's almost where you hit, let it ping, and then you push in to mute it. It's called a hammer mute, or a chunk. Chunk, 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 chunk. Okay? And you're actually palm muting when you're doing it. So chunk, 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 chunk. Okay? Now, chunks are only good basically in the chorus. I mean, basically in the verse. In the chorus, you want to be more harmonically in tune. Bridge, you want to be more directed forward, like with distortion and reverb. It's more echo, distortion in chorus, and it's more distortion only in the verse, because the verse is where the main point of the song is. The bridge is something that gaps it together, and the chorus is something that adds harmony to it. Okay, so you're not going to pick up a bass player. You're not going to pick up a bass and go, gee, I'm going to play this fucking home invented song that's going to sell out millions. Okay, for me to learn the voodoo song, okay, it's very simple. It plays only the top string. Okay, it's 8 8 8 8 8 8 8 7 7 7 7 5 5 7 7 8 8. Okay, and that's basically it's 8 8 8 8 8 7 7 7 7 5 5 5 5 5 7 7 7 5 8 8 8. It's 8 7 5 8 8 7 5 7 8. Okay. And you do it 1, skip 1, 1, 2, skip 1, 1, 2, skip 1, 2, and then you switch your frets. And it sounds like a cemetery if you play it right. New Orleans. Okay, and then you're like 3 7, 3 7, like 4 strums on 3, 4 strums on 7, 4 strums on 3, 4 strums on 7. Okay, now the chorus is kind of a tricky one. This is where it's a new type of metal, because you're going down 1 5 1 3 1 5 1 3. Okay, When you're skipping frets like that, 5 is here, 1 is here. Okay, so 1 is here, 5 is here, 3 is here. Not trying to flip you off, but you got 1, 5, 3, and that's how you play. If they look like they're hitting it with a pinky, they're actually not. They're using 3 fingers, index, middle, and ring. That pinky is used to like make it look like it's hitting, but watch. Okay? Notice what it did. I came up with it before it hit, and then came back. See what I'm saying? And you got to practice with it. I mean, it's not something that you're going to catch right away. But you got to, a bass is also played with finesse, but you got to learn that you are in control. It's not in control of you. So you thump and it's too loud. Don't go, and play that shit like a pussy. No, you got to thump that thing. And if it's not thumping harder every time you're hitting it, like you're not playing the bass right. But also use finesse and use like mathematical equations when you're creating your own songs and stuff. There's a mathematical system. Okay. Usually it's, verse is like even numbers, bridge is like even numbers, and chorus is like odd numbers if you're getting right down to it. And it will totally change the sound, and then it'll totally change it back when it gets to chorus, verse. Okay. But normally it goes even, odd, even. Odd, even, odd, even. Okay. That way it's always lining up right. Like you gotta mix up everything in that song if you play songs like that. Okay, line the mathematics up. Try it out for yourself, bass players. You'll find that I'm being spot on accurate. And for this, I deserve some subscribers. I just taught key secrets of the bass that are not normally taught. Anyways, thanks. Hope you enjoyed. Bass player Sinister here.